And this
This
is
is Hey Bay City.
Oh,
No, we
Renee-
got to do it. I
Marlana,
messed up.
You're
Oh my
supposed
God.
to be the professional.
No, thank you.
You've done this more than anybody.
I know. I
Come
don't
on.
That
know why
makes
I
me-
started giggling all of a sudden.
That makes me feel better, like I can make mistakes.
All right, let's
Yeah.
one
Leave
more
it to
time.
Marlana to set the bar low.
I just started making myself laugh. I don't know why. Okay, see, this is good. All right. But this is good. You need to laugh in the morning. All right, we're gonna do this again. This is it.
Fifth
we got
time's
it.
the charm.
Here we
Yes.
go.
Hi, I'm Renee Courier Aumock, and I'm with the Bay-Arenac ISD.
And I'm Marlana Cork, and I'm with the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. And
And
this is Hey Bay City.
Woo! Crushed it, guys. Renee, good morning. I don't
Good
think we've
morning.
ever sat down across from each other for a chat. So
We
this is a nice little treat. And today we're talking about lots of acronyms, the ISD and the BEP and all of that stuff. And before we get to the BEP acronym, let's talk about the ISD acronym. Because if people are living in the community and they haven't directly engaged with the ISD, they might see that and have no idea what goes on in that building. So give me a little sneak peek at what you guys do at the ISD.
Sure. So the ISD is the intermediate school district. A lot of times people know of us by the Career Center. So that's where high school students take classes regarding whatever interest area they're in. So they leave their home school and they go to the Career Center and learn some type of trade or field. That is a very large part of what we do, but we also do a lot of other things. For instance, I work in the post-secondary department, and so we help our local school districts in meeting I'm going to say another acronym, the EDP, which is an educational development plan. So we go in and assist schools and students in figuring out what they might be interested in and how that can relate to a post-secondary plan and leading into a career of one that they will enjoy and be good at, hopefully.
Every time we talk about stuff like this, I get shuttled back to high school, just wishing that I had something like this, if not to explore another area of interest, but maybe just to confirm the path that I thought I was on. I mean, like the experience of different programs and things like that. Oh, it's just amazing. For high school students, what kind of programs do you guys offer?
So we offer what's called Zello. It's a database that students log into from 6th to 12th grade, and they learn about themselves. So they take assessments. And again, I would love to have had this when I was younger. I did take the assessment as a demo student, and I think I'm in the right career, so that's good. It's nice to confirm that. So 6th through 12th grade, they're taking assessments. They're learning about their personality style, their learning style, learning how to advocate for themselves. They get to search careers that they're matched with based on that assessment and hopefully get a work-based learning opportunity, which we'll talk about in a little bit later with the Business and Education Partnership.
Oh, very cool. That leads us to the BEP. Tell me a little bit about the BEP.
So the BEP is the Business and Education Partnership. This was started years back. I can't remember the year. But the ISD and the Chamber of Commerce came together and said, we need to work better together to help our students. So let's connect education and business to help connect those dots for the students. Because if we don't know the resources available, or we might be overwhelmed by the resources available, for sure our students are. And so for years, we came together on a monthly basis, worked at, providing mock job interviews. Mad City Money is another program, just ways to connect business and students so that we can get them in the right field and hopefully the right field in their hometown.
Yeah, absolutely. Mad City Money, give me a quick one of what exactly that is, because it sounds fun.
So Mad City Money is typically for 10th grade students, and MSU Extension helps put that on. The students are given a career and how much money they would make annually. And then there's stations that they have to visit and decide based on that salary, where could I live? What kind of car could I drive? Where am I shopping for my clothing? I'll tell you a funny story. I worked one of those tables a couple years ago, and there was a young man in front of me, and I was at the clothing table, and he had a choice based on his salary. Where can I shop for clothes? And there was secondhand stores, name brand stores. And so he said, well, I'm going to shop at the name brand store, but my wife and kids can shop at the secondhand store. And that was my reaction.
Hopefully there's a divorce court program in Mad City Money. This sounds amazing as a former educator, like thinking about practical skills, like what's something my kids can learn that I know for a fact every single one of them are going to need to experience at some point in their lives. And you see that momentum happening culturally, constantly on social media. You hear, why aren't we teaching kids taxes and job interview skills and all of these things? And it sounds like here's the BEPs, save the days. Like, we will teach you all of those things. It was started a few years ago, kind of lost some steam over the course of years. And Marlana, you came on to Hey Bay City, and I remember a couple of initial meetings, like you latching on to the BEP right away, saying like, this is something we need to do. This has to come back. Why did you gravitate so strongly to resurrecting the BEP?
Because when we're talking about talent retention, this is exactly a good way of doing that. First, the students need to know and understand the industries that we have in the Bay County area. And what better way to bridge those relationships, our education and our business community, but as well as with those students, to help them really understand these are some opportunities that are available. I actually have employment opportunities here that I can take those necessary classes or get those work-based learning opportunities or job shadowing opportunities. So building on that, I'm never one to recreate the wheel. So guess what? We already have a vehicle. Let's go ahead and just soup that vehicle up. Make it from a Chevette to a Cadillac. So that's what we're doing with that.
I love it. And of course, making the connection here that the encouragement, one, is we need to give kids these career development skills so that they can go off into life and they can make some really powerful choices on their own. I just had a great conversation with Dr. Grant over at SVSU, and that one of the themes that he talked about a lot was we need to give our students tools so that they can make choices.
Exactly.
And if we don't give them those tools, those choices end up being made for them. If they're a brilliantly qualified student, but they just don't have any experience in the job interview, they're going to kind of stumble through their first couple, and they may have missed really a pivotal, transformative opportunity simply because they didn't do a job interview before that moment. And so, wow, what a cool program.
And so, and it is exciting because, and I'm glad you mentioned that, like with mock interviewing, as Renee mentioned, that was something that was already in place. Well, now we're going to take all of that to the next level. If an employer, we have all of our employers come in and volunteer with the students. Well, guess what? If you find a student that you really feel is promising, why not take that student and you can start developing them? You can bring them on for a summer opportunity or a job shadow opportunity. And now we're building a pipeline of employees that we kind of overlooked in the past.
Yeah, such a great point that it's not just for the students. Employers can absolutely benefit, because here's a little experience where you get to come in, you get to interview a student that might be exactly the person that you're looking for. And I remember when I interviewed some of them over at Western, part of the work-based learning program, I walked out of there going, I would hire that one, and I would hire that one, and I would hire that one, because they're just really, really incredible kids. Renee, maybe give me the nuts and bolts of how the BEP works. I was just at a meeting of the BEP. Kind of talk to me about the mechanisms and things being done right now to bring the BEP into all the schools and amplify it and really take hold of that momentum?
Sure. So I was really happy to connect with Marlana because we both seem to have the same sort of passion where we want to convene and collaborate and make things even better that we're already doing. And that's where the business and education partnership comes into play. So with the mock job interviews, only a couple of high schools in Bay-Arenac County were holding the mock job interviews. So we thought, why not bring that to all of the districts, make a systematic change so all of our students are getting the same experiences. Not only that, we were able to work with our businesses and say, instead of just coming in for a day and interviewing, which is beneficial, but now let's take it a step further and you can actually interview these students for a potential job shadow, internship, some type of experience so that they can then learn, is this something I want to pursue or not? And again, bringing it back to getting the students earlier on into experiences to make that decision leads to the businesses then actually hiring someone who already knows this is the career I want to be in, instead of spending time and time and time again interviewing, training, only to find out it wasn't a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that point because thinking back to when I was in high school, like you're doing summer jobs to kind of figure out where you want to be, and I could absolutely see an employer looking at a summer hire thinking like, oh, they just don't make kids like they used to, when honestly, like that child, that young adult is working in something that they know that's not their thing.
Right.
You know, like they have passions elsewhere and now they're here. And so it's a matter of really placing them in an environment where they can thrive the most. And that's exciting to me. you know?
Yes.
Usually students will choose a career that they know. So a career that their parents have or their older sibling or something they've experienced. Sometimes students will have a personal experience in life and that will lead them to their passion, but not all students have that. So that's why we need to come together and provide that for all students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marlana, talk to me about kind of the convening of the BEP, because I was at the last meeting and it was exciting. I mean, you've got the ISD and the chamber, and you've got superintendents from the schools, and you have local employers. Why is that so important to get all of these people into a room at the same time to talk this through?
Well, after first I sat back to research, okay, what needs to be done? Because I don't want to just come in and say, oh, we need to change this and change this. So after talking to Renee and Mike mentioned that it was very heavy on education. So we need to find more ways to incorporate the employers. So then that way the students are really getting that opportunity to say, okay, this is what we need to do, or this is what I need to study, or this is these are the courses that I want to take. So bringing all the necessary partners to the table to say, from the education side, this is what the students need. They have to have a career class, or they have to have some type of activities involved, so that they need to get involved in order, as far as graduation requirements. Well, then we have our business community that says, hey, we want to help with these students, help them, prepare them, whatever we can do to volunteer, but then also introduce them to our industries. So talking about, okay, what is it that employers are noticing when they're interviewing? What is it that these students need to learn? They need to learn how to interview properly. They need to know those soft skills and handling themselves on the job. So why not bring these two parties together and let's hash it out, talk about it, and then implement programming that's going to be relevant. So this is where we talk to our education community to say, this is what is needed. And our business community can help provide that. So bridging that together is helping us kind of reformat some things and implementing some things.
Yeah, and just to reinforce what Renee was saying earlier too, that the business community can help provide this critical education for our kids. But at the same time, the business community is saying, hey, we need people. We need people to hire. We need, my business needs some kind of a future, and I can't do that if I don't have a talented workforce. Well, here's a chance to get your foot in the door right away and possibly pick out the cream of the crop from these local high schools and say, hey, I see something in you. Let's nurture that. Come to work for me during the summer. Let's start an internship program that I didn't have before, just to retain you here, because once you see that, you can't lose it. Whereas typically the employment search is you throw out your job position and you just kind of hope. Here's a way to kind of take the steering wheel and say, hey, I'm going to get into these schools and try to pick out the best of the best for my business.
And if I can add another point, and I'm glad Renee brought this up. The other issue we were having is that it was only happening in a couple of schools within one district. We needed to make sure all of our students across Bay County were getting the same opportunities as far as the activities to get involved. That wasn't happening before. So revamping and resurrecting all of this and having our business and education partnership committee together to say, this needs to happen in Pinconning. It's already happening over at Western. We need to do this in Exesville. So now we want to make it it's going to be more equitable in terms of the programming that's going to be available for all students.
I love it. Marlana, in our conversations, you keep bringing up this curriculum from Michigan State University.
Michigan State University.
Tell me about that.
Extension. Yeah. Yes. Well, I have to say this. They have been a wonderful partner since I've been on. And Renee, I think you can attest to this as well, with offering the curriculum for Mad City money, with helping students just kind of get a little taste of what life can really be like. Also going into the area of, your mental health matters. It's okay to talk about your feelings. Interviewing builds up a lot of anxiety. So how do you navigate that? How do you navigate, okay, how do I prepare myself to kind of bring that anxiety down? Having those resources available at no cost is phenomenal. And bringing the extra support. We know our school districts all across the country are struggling with having that support. So having a partner with MSU Extension is bringing that extra support with no additional costs. And I don't want to devalue it. When I say that, it's just we always know it's money. Or just having those extra resources available. And that's what this partnership does.
And that's what I think. I think the thing I love about this the most, the collaboration between different entities within the community who all see a similar need. We've got to help our kids. We got to help our workforce. MSU Extension coming in. We can help you do that for free without additional burden on the schools, because we could go to the schools and say, hey, schools, you should do more career development. And I was in the classroom. Look,
with what?
Yeah, with what? With that, that's one more thing. I've got maybe 3 minutes before recess. It just ends up being impossible. So somebody coming in and say, no, we have it all for you. It's just a matter of using it. Oh, manna from heaven. I love it. Renee, if employers are listening to this specifically and they're like, hey, I want to get involved in these interviews. I want to get involved in the BEP. I want to play a part in this for our community. How do they go about doing that?
Well, they could contact either one of us, and we would get them in contact with the right person, depending on if they want to volunteer for Mad City Money, if they want to volunteer for mock job interviews, if they would like to create a profile on Zello. So I talked a little bit about that. So students are in there, they're getting matched with careers, but what we're doing now is building the company platform. So not only will students see a generic career that they could go into, they click on the company button and they can see actual businesses in this area that they can work in and request a work-based learning opportunity there.
Yes.
So it's matching the student directly with the company. So definitely reach out to me to to get involved in that because we're trying to build our company profiles. They can see a lot of times students only know what they know. So when
Yeah.
they think about a hospital, they think it's nurses and doctors. Well, that's true, but there's a whole slew of other areas. There's accounting. There's, there's so many other. And when they think of education, they think principals, teachers, counselors. But again, there's so many more opportunities. I know I've heard a lot of the superintendents talk about they can't find anyone for their business office because students don't connect business with education.
Yeah, right.
And so that's exactly what we're talking about. And I'm glad that Marlana brought up equitable because a lot of times, I mean, we have a lot of first generation students in our area. And so they don't really have the knowledge to know what are my potential career paths. So now we're talking about one of my pet peeves is when I hear someone talking about you have to go into skilled trades or you have to go to college. Really, it's all about what is the right fit for the student and what is the right fit for that company. So let's just talk about all education being good education and let's get the students in the right path because we all know if you're passionate about what you're doing, it's going to come more naturally. You're going to do well and the businesses are going to thrive because of it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the curse of every business is employee turnover. You invest lots of time and money into an employee, and 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, they discover, hey, this accounting thing is not really for me, and then they jump ship, which is great for them. But now the business is in a little bit of a pickle. Whereas if that match is made better at the front end, now you've got an employee that sticks with you for a long, long time, maybe the duration of their career, and that's a win for everybody. I love what you talked about with the first generation students because we interviewed a group of SVSU students, recent graduates, and Damian Perez was one of the first generations, and he said exactly that is you have to come to campus and take a look at all the programs and really be exposed to this because if you don't have family members with that kind of knowledge or experience, they can't help you as much as you should be helped. And so you have to see what's out there and what's possible. And well, I can go into accounting, but accounting can be a bunch of different things in different places. Or I can go into the health field, but what does that mean? Well, it's more than just nurses and doctors. I can do rehab and all of these other things. So
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that because I am first generation myself.
You are.
So I think
Amazing.
I think a lot about if this would have been available when I was in high school, how much quicker could I have gotten to the job that I really loved and enjoyed doing?
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. Renee, go ahead. Can you give me your email address just in case people are listening to this and they're just, I want to send a message to her now.
Sure. It's Aumock, AUMOCKR @BAISD.net.
Love it. Marlana, what about your email address?
It's Marlana, Marlana @baycityarea.com.
Love it. So area employers, especially, if you're listening to this, we need you. We need you involved in the BEP. We need your profile on Zello. We got to build this pipeline for you right now, but for the community in the future, and that's going to take everybody's participation, everybody uplifting this program, doing what they can, whether it's mock job interviews or just getting your profile on Zello so that maybe you can get connected or developing an internship program or hiring youth or anything like that. We can do it. It's going to be awesome. I love the BEP. I love what you guys are doing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens, not this year, not next year, but 3 years, 5 years, because that's when the seed really begins to bloom and we've got that pipeline built, but we got to do the hard work first. And so I want to thank you guys for stopping by and for doing the hard work.
Thank you,
Renee
Phil.
and Marlana, you guys are amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cut. You guys are amazing. Oh my goodness.
That was because we got a good director.